Pricing a contract. It's a problem not only in the software industry, but in all industries that deliver projects. In this video, I want to run through fixed price contracts versus time and material contracts, the pros and cons, and why we've gone with the way we have. Here at Flying Donkey, we use aspects of both of these methodologies, and I'll explain why further in the video. It's going to touch on the four following points. Firstly, the pros and cons of a fixed price contract. Secondly, the pros and cons of time and material contracts. Third, the use of credits. And finally, the benefits of becoming a partner. I'm Matt Grace, Managing Director of Flying Donkey. Let's get into it. Point 1, fixed price contracts. Let's look at the pros and cons from both the client and contractor side of a fixed price contract. The first thing to point out though, it is impossible to know upfront exactly how long a piece of code is going to take to write. I've touched on this in other videos and why this is the case, but essentially for this video, just remember it's impossible to get exactly right. Let's see how this risk is shared in a fixed price model and who takes the brunt of the risk in this position. Clients. So clients generally like fixed price models because they know upfront exactly what it's going to cost and they can budget exactly for it. So generally, if the project goes well and is delivered, the client is happy because they knew exactly what they're going to pay up front and they got the product that they were asked for. From the negative side, if a client receives a fixed price project and the contractor can't deliver the fixed price project as they get into it, the contractor will generally abandon the fixed price project halfway through. And we've actually seen this multiple times. This is because if you're a contractor and you've quoted a fixed price project and you know it's going to go over, realistically, the cost of completing the project, if you significantly underestimated it, is going to be more than actually keeping the client themselves. It's an important risk the clients sometimes forget, but it needs to be kept in mind when having a fixed price contract. Contractors. From a fixed price project contract, contractors essentially bear the majority of the risk. And this is because if the project runs over or the estimate is wrong, they're the ones who have to absorb the cost. As mentioned, their get out of jail free card here is to abandon the project. And obviously this is not good for their long-term business, but it is an option if they want to pursue it. The issue here is if a contractor can't correctly estimate a project, one of two things is going to happen. Firstly, they're going to overinflate the fixed price estimate to make sure that they can make sure they get a profit. And secondly, if they are losing on fixed price contracts, this relationship may turn sour where they don't like the client because they're working so hard to try and achieve something that at the end is not profitable for their business. Due to this, at Flying Donkey, we do utilize fixed price contracts and it's generally upfront for a small initial contract. Because we're dealing with you for the first time, you don't know who we are, we don't know how we work. So we try and give you a fixed price contract to give you some certainty around the initial project that we do with you. From our side to reduce some of the risk, we make sure that the fixed price project we give you is only small in scope. Therefore, we always look to estimate maybe a 2-week project, but we'd never estimate anything longer than a month in a fixed price contract. To us, this gives us the best of both worlds. It allows our clients to try us out on a fixed price basis that they can correctly budget against, but also means that we're not going to lose huge amounts of money on a large fixed price contract that we can't deliver on. Generally speaking, this initial fixed price budget will be around prototyping and bringing together an initial scope document for the project. We'll then be able to deliver a time and materials estimate on the remainder of the work for the clients to approve and move forward with. Point number 2, time and material contracts. Time and material costs are pretty straightforward. Material costs are generally passed directly to the client for payment, and labor costs are charged on a time billing basis. That means if someone works 8 hours on a task, the client is charged 8 hours. Let's look at the pros and cons from both the client and contractor side. From the client's perspective, the main con is they're unsure how to budget against this time materials contract. In most businesses, people have certain amounts of budgets they have to use for certain things, and a time materials contract, because it's open-ended, means it's difficult to do this budgeting against. On the flip side, because it's time materials, changing the contract partway through, or changing the design, or changing an aspect of the project partway through is fine from the client's perspective. As you know, with software development, things do change through the process, and therefore in a fixed price contract, large change requests can sometimes come in, and that can be very punitive. In a time materials contract, it's very easy for a client to reschedule or rechange or reprioritize changes throughout the project because they are paying on a time billing basis. And the final con here is, if you are or you don't have a trustworthy contractor, obviously they can abuse this power. Generally here at Flying Donkey, we still give estimates for our time and materials costs, and we try and run them close as possible to these estimates. If we run under, we charge under. If we run over, we charge over. But the idea here is we hope that they balance out over time, and by giving estimates on these pieces, we can somehow mitigate some of these negatives that come with open-ended time billing contracts. From a contractor's perspective, obviously time materials is far more flexible. It's less risky for them, as they don't need to estimate everything up front. At the same time, they can just charge through the hours that they log. The one con for a contractor is that if they are very good and on top of their game and they can deliver projects very smoothly, sometimes they bill less hours than they would if they were able to fix price that contract. So let's just say they're really good at a particular piece of software and delivering that well for the client, but in the market, that contract might take 100 hours to develop. They'd be able to fix price that contract at 100 hours, but if they're able to deliver that contract in 20 hours, then they're really only going to be able to build 20 hours for it. Here at Flying Donkey, when we do time materials contracts, and if they do come under, we look at that as a way to build a relationship with the client to show them we can deliver for them and get more work in the future. So I briefly touched on how we use time billing materials. Essentially, we start with a small fixed price contract and then we move on to time and billing. At the same time, for time billing, we do give estimates for each of the work. We do give estimates for each of the pieces of work we are working on. As I said, if we go under those estimates, we charge under. If we go over, we charge over. At the same time, we allow our clients to set monthly budget limits, so therefore we can't go over those number of hours in the month, which gives some certainty to their budgeting as they need. Number 3, use of credits. Use of credits is really our internal mechanism to keep us in check. This approach for using credits does not seem to be used in many other digital agencies, but it's something I feel is very important for us to keep us in check. So let's just say we've worked with a fixed price contract, we've got the trust of the client, and we're starting to deliver on some of our time and materials basis. Let's just say something happens 2 to 3 months in a time and materials billing that goes way over. At the end of each month, we do a review of all the work completed, and if some of the work is subpar or a developer has gone left field, we will credit back those hours to the client. Essentially, it's our way of saying we made a mistake, here's the hours back, and that's how we keep ourselves in check. This really helps us keep on budget and allows us to say, look, this problem was our problem and we need to own that. We're going to give you those credits back so that the project can come in budget. Sure, credits aren't always used. If a piece of work does take longer and we have just worked well on it, then obviously the cost is going to be higher. But what we generally find is if we do miss an estimate by a significant amount, there is some blame on our side, and therefore the use of credits really brings that back in line to allow us to deliver within budget for the client. And finally, really stringing this together, it's about becoming a partner. Whether you go with a fixed price contract or a time billing materials contract, it's really about becoming a partner with your software development agency. The thing is, if you're always at odds with each other, regardless of what the contract is, you're going to have challenges in delivering the project. Delivering software is a complex thing, and there is going to be ups and downs along the way, and you need a way to mitigate that on both sides. Having fixed price contracts really puts the risk on the contractor side, and it can really put them off base and really try and work against you to deliver things in a smaller way while hitting you with punitive change requests. On the flip side, a time billing materials is less risky for a contractor and can mean they've got more flexibility to deliver for you, but it's important to keep them in check by the use of credits like we do here at Flying Donkey. At the end of the day, we want to build software into the future for you that continually improves your business. And by delivering value in the way we deliver our software, we think you'll come back time and time again to build more products. Overall, we found a combination of these two approaches is the best way to build client relationships and also deliver products to our clients. If you're looking to deliver a software project in your business, feel free to reach out and let's have a chat.